Hello, dear students. Today we are going to continue our talk about the War of the Worlds. Open your books at page 66. Exercise 8. We have read the extract The Ruined House, and now you are to choose the correct answer. Let's check. The narrator can leave the house at first because the black smoke is dangerous. B. It was said in the text that the black smoke had crept around the house, surrounding it and making prisoners of them. The curate lives with the narrator because he doesn't want to be left alone. B. According to the text, the narrator decided to leave him. When he realized that the narrator was leaving, he got up and came with him. The narrator learns that the Martians don't just want to kill humans. In the last passage, it is said, "Then he threw them into the metal container hanging like a workman's basket behind him." That's when the narrator realized that the Martians might have a different plans for them. Now let's get acquainted with new words. Listen to them and write down in your vocabularies.
Courageous,
determined, disturbed,
educated,
selfish, artilleryman, bomb sight, gentle breeze, heart of stone,
howl,
sly.
In exercise 9, you are to answer, what are the tripods like? Read the extract again, list the words used by the author and describe a tripod. Let's look at the words, listen to the model.
The tripods are taller than the trees and metallic. They have long legs, a heat ray, and a metal container hanging behind them.
In exercise 10, you are to compare the extract to the biography and the review. How do they differ? And now let's work on character analysis.
The extract is about an imaginary series of events featuring fictional characters, but the biography and the review are factual, about a real person and a real book. The purpose of the extract is to entertain, but the purpose of the biography and the review is to inform. The extract is in the first-person point of view, but the biography is in the third person, and the review has no person. The extract has a plot that is being advanced, but the biography and the review both contain an introduction, a main body, and a conclusion. The language in the extract is very stylistic and descriptive, but the language in the biography and the review is less descriptive and plainer.
Exercise 11. Listen to a professor presenting the characters of the narrator and the curate. Use the adjectives from the list to compare the Venn diagram. Let's listen.
There aren't many characters in the War of the Worlds. A great part of the story takes place when the narrator encounters the curate while trying to evade the Martians. They are both in the same situation, powerless against the Martians, worried and scared. However, the characters are very different, and this is shown by the way they deal with the situation. The curate is a religious man who becomes extremely disturbed after the destruction of his church. He feels that he can't do anything, and has lost all hope, which is ironic, since his job involves people going to him to find hope when times are hard. He also behaves in a foolish way, saying that the house is safe when it clearly isn't. Finally, he is selfish, thinking only about himself. He doesn't go with the narrator to help him, but because he doesn't want to be alone. The narrator, on the other hand, is presented as an educated man, a philosopher whose writing is interrupted by the invasion of the Martians. Although he has many close calls with the Martians, he is courageous and thinks of plans that would be useful. He also has a motive, to travel across country and find his wife, who he had left in Leatherhead. This gives him the determination to survive and to escape these awful creatures.
And fill the diagram. Now we can see the narrator is educated, courageous, determined. The curate, disturbed, selfish, foolish. And they both are scared and worried. In exercise 12, you are to compare the personalities of the narrator and the curate. In what ways are they the same? How are they different? Use the examples from the extract and the idea in the Venn diagram to explain your opinion. Let's listen to the model.
The narrator is worried because he doesn't know where his wife is. He is also courageous because he wants to try and find her, even though the Martians' deadly machines are close by. The curate, on the other hand, is selfish because he is complaining about the situation, but he isn't helping to change it. He is also childish and unable to keep calm, as well as foolish because he is saying that the house is safe, when it clearly isn't. Both the narrator and the curate are scared.
And now let's speak about grammar. Conjunctions. They show the logical relationship between sentences or parts of a sentence. We use them in clauses of concession, which are used to express contrast. They are introduced with the following words or expressions: although, even though with clause, in spite of, despite with a noun or ing form, in spite of, despite with the fact that with clause. However, nevertheless, a comma is always used after this, while, whereas, but, yet, formal or still. On the other hand, we use having with past participle to show that the action happened before the result. Let's listen to the examples.
Although the Nazca lines were first discovered almost a century ago, archaeologists still don't know why they were created.
In spite of the Nazca lines being first discovered almost a century ago, archaeologists still don't know why they were created.
Despite the Nazca lines being first discovered almost a century ago, archaeologists still don't know why they were created.
Now, in the 13th exercise, you are to choose the correct item. Let's check. I would like to live on Mars despite the harsh climate. There might be life on other planets. However, we may never know. The science fiction story was both exciting and frightening. Some bacteria are more and more deadly. What is more, the medicine we have doesn't kill them. Technological advances can do great things for humanity. However, we should be careful they don't destroy the planet. Aliens must exist somewhere because there are so many other stars and planets. I think humans will travel into space, although it will be very dangerous. In exercise 14, you are to fill in the graphics organizer based on the extract you read. There are characters, setting, main events. Now, let's use your notes and conjunctions to write a summary of the extract. Listen to the model.
The narrator and the curate are in an empty house in Halliford, England. There is black smoke around the house, which makes the men prisoners. On Monday morning, a tripod washed it away, and the narrator decided to leave. The curate came with him. The roads were full of scared people. They saw some Martians at Kew, and they hid in a shed. Then the narrator set off again before dark. The curate followed him. They saw a tripod chasing some men. A Martian picked them up and threw them into a metal container. The narrator and the curate froze in fear, and then they ran for their lives.
In exercise 15, we are going to speak about elements in fiction. Let's speak about stylistic. Similes use the words as or like to compare one idea to another to suggest that they are similar. For example, Paul runs as fast as lightning, or like the wind. Metaphors make a direct comparison between two things without the use of as or like. For example, the stars are sparkling diamonds in the sky. Personification is when the writer gives human qualities to objects or animals for emphasis. The cloud sailed across the sky. Now let's find two examples of simile, two of metaphor and one of personification in the extract of The War of the Worlds. Let's check. Similes like frightened animals, like a workman's basket. Metaphors. He was a child, frozen with fear. Personification. The black smoke had crept around the house. Now let's identify which type of figurative language is used in sentences. Now let's check. The soldiers fought like lions during the battle. Simile. There is like. Jessica's room was a bomb site. Metaphor. The flowers danced at the gentle breeze. Personification. The flowers are characterized as people. The wind howled the trees. Personification. The wind is also described as a person. Tom is as sly as a fox sometimes. It's simile. Here's the word as. Kylie has a heart of stone. It's metaphor. And your task is exercise 16. You are to read the novel and test your knowledge. Do the quiz.